So, I heard you guys finished your trials. That last arch was a real doozy, wasn't it? Why don't we talk about it a little bit? Maybe Under the Moon and Stars? In this episode of TarValon Talks, we're going to discuss The Wheel of Time on Amazon Prime, Episode 4. Spoiler warning, there will be spoilers for both the TV show and the book series. I can't believe I have to warn you guys every episode, but if you haven't watched the episode, maybe go watch it before you listen to this. So, here's myself, Doll, and Dianna, here to talk about Episode 4.
Wow. Now I don't know what to say after that opening. So we're back. Nynaeve's back. But first, we have the cold opening, where our good buddy Ishamael, a.k.a. Balsamon, a.k.a. the Dark One, a.k.a.
The Father of Lies.
The Father of Lies.
Betrayer of Hope.
Betrayer of Hope.
Sightblinder.
For real. He announces his titles more than Elaine does. Like, Ishamael.
That's a very Lanfear move that he does.
Yes, he's like standing underneath another seal, and then he rose open with a blast of Sidene. It is Sidene, right?
Yes, I'm assuming so.
Yeah.
I think he channels Earth and maybe Air and Spirit.
Or it could be the true source. Who knows? We don't. Not right now, at least.
And not specifically, but I have a feeling that when we see the true source, it's going to be black.
Perhaps. Or there will be some kind of effect on the weave. Kind of like corruption on Sidene.
Yeah, kind of like the taint.
The corruption is black, and it comes from the true power, or the taint. Anyway, we're off topic already.
What a shock.
And we're only 30 seconds in.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the leaves that he uses it's definitely some Earth and some Air and some Spirit.
Okay. I don't pay enough attention to the colors.
I'm obsessed with the colors of the weaves. I'm constantly studying.
I know. I love that you notice it.
It's nice. It's nice.
But it's a lot visually for me to take in, so I never pick up on it fast enough. So he breaks the seal, and this woman comes up dripping in blood. And as we talked before, is it Lanfear? I think it's Lanfear.
I mean, when we were talking last year at the New York Comic-Con panel that they did, both of you were just like, that's got to be Lanfear. And surprise, surprise.
There were so many wild fan theories for, like, who else that could be. Like, I think I saw every single female Forsaken under the sun mentioned, and I was like, guys, we know that Lanfear is going to be in this season. We know that she's the second Forsaken who we meet. This is, or other than Belial and Agenor, who don't count. Like, this is so simple.
Yeah.
But it's like this is no. I know that I at one point said this is like a Moghedian kind of thing, but I don't think she would be this dramatic about it.
No, Moghedian would be more stealthy.
That's true.
Yeah, Lanfear is far and away the biggest diva of the female Forsaken.
Gothic drama queen.
Even more than Grendel?
Grendel would never cover herself in blood.
Oh no.
Grendel would be like, that's disgusting.
That's disgusting. She would rather be naked.
Which, same.
So yeah, it's definitely Lanfear. And then that's the cold open, and we're back to the spinny wheel thing, which the official Wheel of Time Twitter did tweet, would you rather have an opening or more stuff on screen? And I still don't understand the reasoning behind that.
I like Arby's version better, the Meal of Time with a curly fry.
I missed that. I wish they'd do a tie-in, like an actual tie-in, instead of that, like a half tie-in they did with Carl's Jr. last year, or 2 years ago.
Yeah. Where are my McDonald's toys?
Right?
I would get a Happy Meal just to have a Wheel of Time toy at McDonald's.
Or the glass cups that they used to do with the screen printed cups.
Oh yeah.
Because they aren't really Happy Meal toys. Let's face it.
Fair.
Last time I remember anyone doing that was Burger King, and that was with the Star Wars or Star Trek movie that came out in 2008, I think.
Yeah, I haven't seen cups like that in a long time.
There's a movie theater near me that used to do it for every big Marvel movie and Star Wars movie. So I have a bunch of those. But.
They have the cups with the toppers and stuff, but like the glass screen printed cups.
No, there was like they would do like glass screen printed.
Oh.
I have an Avengers one. I have a couple of Star Wars ones.
Neat.
See, I gotta have the Eminfield 5 in a collector's glass version.
Those beautiful like images they released with and the pairs
Printed in lead, just like the good old 1980s.
Oh yes, let's get
Yeah.
the lead paint.
just casually poison ourselves with these cups. Yeah, I feel like the two-person images that they've released this season with the circle, stunning.
This would be perfect.
Where's my Egwene cup? I need that with like the image that they used from her soundtrack.
McDonald's, Amazon, here you go. We just gave you an idea.
Amazon, here's more merch that you're never going to release.
You know. So
anyway, we're so off track.
So off topic. We don't have a producer today, so we're just going to wander.
We're going to be freestyling.
We're just going wild.
Fairy, this is why you can't leave us alone.
We go back to the show, and we're back in Carrion, and we're in the Anvir's palace or house or whatever.
Manor.
I don't know what you call it. Mansion.
Manor.
Yeah, manor's probably the best word. And she's getting dressed. Her older sister comes in, which is, I think is hilarious because her older sister is Moraine, who looks half her age. But, of course, Moraine is Aes Sedai, so. And she complains that they haven't talked for decades, and Moraine tells her she doesn't have time. And Anvir is not very happy about that.
Moraine is, again, so rude.
She is.
She's been rude the entire season so far.
Right? She's like, I don't have time for you.
Yeah. She's got no time for anyone. She's like, all right, that's nice. She like cuts Anvir off like mid-sentence at one point. And she like starts ordering the servant around. Like, I don't blame Anvir for being like, yo, this is not your house, Moiraine.
Hey, you don't come into my house.
I don't have that many more years left, and you're gonna... Well, she didn't say that, but I mean, she doesn't.
Compared to Moiraine, she probably doesn't.
She maybe has another decade or two left, and Moraine's gonna be around for centuries. Maybe. Well, she could conceivably.
Yeah, she has the potential to be anyway.
She has the potential to be, if she doesn't go falling through any doorways.
Stay away from red doors.
Yep.
Yes. And then after that, we go back. We see Rand out in the foregate. He's cleaning up the wreckage of the inn, and Sling comes up to try to talk to him about it, but he's not in the mood to talk either. So he's being just as sulky as Moraine, though I don't blame him.
Everyone's so moody.
Everybody's moody.
I feel like we've entered emo Rand era like really early. I feel like emo Rand doesn't really start until like book 5-ish.
Easily, yeah.
Well, he hasn't started listing names yet.
Yeah, God, I hope we don't ever get that. But he's already like, I feel like once they cut his hair, we had like entered emo Rand era, and I was like, I don't know if I can do this for 7 seasons. This is gonna be tough. Just as long as he's not like, I am made of stone, I feel nothing, except that I'm clearly traumatized by every woman's death ever.
Oh God.
Like, oh Rand, please. Again, where is my therapy, Aja?
10 minutes of every episode in future seasons will be dedicated to Rand rattling down the list.
Jeez.
We can't have an opening sequence because Rand has to list every woman that he knows.
That is the opening sequence now. It's just a list of women's names.
List of women that died.
Scrolling in like a Star Wars fashion.
Oh my God.
Incredible. One thing that we skipped over that Moiraine does is she gets the Gildon in red. She specifically asks for that.
Oh yeah.
You know exactly what it's for.
Yep.
Like, I was half paying attention to the episode, like, in that moment, just at home, and she picks up the red, and I just goes, oh, yeah, she's going to go see Logain.
I think I missed that.
It's one of the things that she, like, orders the servant to do. She's like, saddle my horse, get my dress, blah, blah, blah. Also, I'm going to need a Gildon and red from the cellar. And it's like, oh, Moraine's really well informed about Logain. Not surprised.
So, I don't remember anything else that Rand and Selene really talked about.
Selene offers to go on vacation. She's like,
oh, right.
She wanted to go up to Kinslayer's Dagger because her uncle had a cabin up there, and she wanted to go on a vacation as a, whatever, and tries to convince Rand to go along, and he's just moping about because, he just burned an inn down, or part of it.
Can I ask a stupid geographical question?
Sure.
Is Kinslayer's Dagger and Dragonmount the same thing?
No.
No. Kinslayer's Dagger is part of the spine?
Yes.
Okay.
It's the out branch of the spine that's right above Carrion. So if like the spine goes this way, there's a small like outcrop of mountains that go down towards Carrion.
Got it. That's right. I always forget how close Carrion is to the spine.
Mm-hmm. It's where they cross when they come in the books from Faldara. They cross Kinslayer's Dagger and then come into Carrion.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, it can be kind of confusing considering Kinslayer is linked to Lews Therin.
I was like, I don't think this is the same mountain, but it has a very similar name.
And, he was the one that raised Dragonmount,
right.
Basically. So it would be an easy way to confuse, Kinslayer's Dagger is Dragonmount because of these things that correlate, but not causation.
Yeah, that is why I got confused. But
Yeah.
thank you, guys.
Yeah, no, that's an easy confusion. If you haven't stared at the map a million times.
I am geographically challenged in real life and in fantasy books, so maps mean nothing to me.
I do a little better with Renland.
I look at a map and I'm like, that's nice. In one ear, out the other. Let's keep going.
I'm not great with map. Like, I'm okay when I look at a map, but like remembering where everything is in relation to things, not so good. Like my internal map is different than the actual map.
Yeah.
I got real good with the Randland map because it was hanging on the wall for 5 years in my last place. So I could just look at it as I walked by.
That's what I need.
It's hanging in my living room now.
I need to find a really good copy of it and hang it.
I need to get mine stretched and framed. I have the canvas print from Tavern Tees.
Oh, you got the canvas one.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Very nice.
So
I cheaped out and just got the paper one that TarValon Tees used to sell.
yeah, I got one of the canvas ones when they still had them, and it wasn't cheap.
But yeah, so yeah, Celine was just like, I'm going to Kinslayer's Dagger. You should join me. As a very obvious, hey, Rand, why don't you come over here for a minute? And he's just like, no, I'm going to go over here and mope in the corner.
We cut from there. We go to Nynaeve is back. She's wearing her acceptance dress, and she's sitting in bed, and she's reliving the events that happened in the arches. You hear voices from there, and she's clearly very traumatized from what happens. And the queen comes in and tries to comfort her, but it's not doing much good.
The accepted quarters look beautiful.
Right?
They're huge.
Especially compared to the novices.
Yeah. Those windows are massive and stunning. There's so much light. There's like a bunch of plants around. Like, it looks really nice. I'm like, I want to be an accepted.
Yeah. Egwene notices the ring and asks her how it feels. You can tell Egwene's very jealous of that ring. Nynaeve hates it. I can't remember anything else they talked about.
Nothing really. I think Nynaeve is basically just like, I'm going to go bye. And is like feeling like super awkward around Egwene.
Yeah. She's awkward and she's still haunted by everything she saw.
Yeah, because she thought she resolved it, but she was still in the arches when she felt like she resolved it. So coming out, she knows these things. Egwene doesn't know she knows. So she's still feeling very apprehensive towards Egwene about it.
Yeah.
Egwene does say like, oh, none of it was real, which like that's the problem. Like it's real. It's a moment when Egwene really like just puts her foot in her mouth. It's so gut wrenching.
Yeah. It doesn't really matter if it was real. It felt real to Nynaeve.
Yeah.
And for her, it was years, because even though she was only in there like a day at most.
Yeah, she specifically said it was years. I don't think in the books it wasn't nearly that long. I don't think it was more than like...
No, she goes into it already, like she already has a child and she's already living.
She's got the child. We don't have the thing with Matt or Perrin getting killed.
Mm-mm.
And it's just... something happened to Lan, or Lan was like sick or something like that, if I remember right, and was calling after Nynaeve, and she saw the arches, and the arches disappeared, and then they reappear later. And did she channel in the books to make them return, or did she just kind of will it back? Because I absolutely cannot remember this.
I don't remember either. My gut is that she willed it back, not channeling. That feels like a more book Nynaeve way to handle something, is to basically like to bully it into doing what she wants, including an ancient ter'angreal.
That is a very Nynaeve thing to do. The channeling was interesting, considering how much they emphasized that you can't channel inside. They gave them something to show, like, this is extraordinary, other than the fact that she just didn't come out when she was supposed to.
Oh no, she actually does. Okay, so I googled it, but yes, she actually does channel in the test. Inside the third arch.
Oh,
Okay, that's in the book.
Yeah, she does. She has difficulty embracing the source, but she manages to.
Oh.
After completing almost 99 weaves.
that's the Aes Sedai test, though.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm reading ahead. Look at me. Reading comprehension.
That's okay. So after, Egwene leaves Nynaeve alone, we go to Lan, who is now dressed completely differently. Like, he's got his hair down, he's wearing, I can only assume, is some kind of Shienaran smoking jacket or something. But they're in Arafel with Alana and her family.
I'm I feel like he's dressed in like the Arafeli fashion, which looks like it's based on India.
Maybe.
Given like that they base like Melear on Korean fashion because of Daniel Henney being Korean. So because Alana's actress Priyanka Basani, I think is her name, is Indian, I'm guessing they based Altaran fashion on Indian fashion.
Arafel. They're in Arafel.
Arafel, sorry, thank you.
Yeah, which makes sense because Varen is also, like, Varen and Valdine were also in Arafel. And
yeah, and Varen is wearing much more like, looks more like Camelin-esque, but her sister, Vandine is, no, Adelaide.
Adelaide, yeah.
There we go. Adelaide is definitely wearing something that's like much more flowy and like much more Indian looking. And it looked like kind of like at one point they were eating like roti and like, like a Indian bean dish.
It looked like a curry or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, so and it has to be Alana's family. They mentioned that she hasn't brought another man home in years, and like they're all checking Lan out.
They want to know where the third one goes, which ask Alana in private, and I feel like she can give you some ideas.
Yes. Although it does not seem that they've actually bonded.
No.
I think that's actually later, isn't it? No, that is in this scene. She talks to him about it. She says she doesn't think he's in danger of hurting himself because Moiraine just broke the bond rather than...
You mean masked it?
She says broke the bond.
She says broked, he says masked.
Yeah, I'm still confused.
So, okay. I have to go into it again because in my notes, is the bond broken or isn't it? And then 1,000 question marks and exclamation points. I'm so annoyed. So I think maybe this is a case of unreliable narrators and us placing too much on on people speaking fact when they are just speaking opinions in the show. I have a feeling that Alana doesn't understand. Everyone assumes that Moiraine is stilled when she's not, which is a kind of an episode 5 spoiler because in the trailer for episode 5 we see her channeling.
Moiraine?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I haven't seen the trailer yet.
Oh, I haven't seen it.
Okay.
Thank
Spoilers
you
for the podcast.
Thank you, Diana.
Thanks.
Jeez. Spoiling the episodes for us.
Sorry. That's what you said, Thad. Your words, not mine.
Spoiler.
We have spoiler warnings at the top of the podcast.
For episode 4. 4.
Yeah. Not the ones that haven't aired yet.
Anyways, so it's a whole like an unreliable narrator thing.
Yeah.
So the one point of contention for, I guess, the whole Aes Sedai can't tell a lie thing is a lot of people keep drawing to the line of in one of the episodes, I can't remember if it was episode 4 specifically, but Alana, or maybe not Alana, but someone cooks some food. One of the Aes Sedai cooks food and goes, if you don't like it, I'll set you on fire.
That's Alana.
And they're like, I thought Aes Sedai can't lie. And it's like, all right, well, yes, but if you believe something enough as a truth, then it's not technically a lie, is it? Right? So
also, like, you can joke. You can tell a joke.
Hyperbole. Robert Jordan has confirmed that hyperbole is not a lie.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the Aes Sedai aren't robots. It isn't a binary yes or no kind of system with the oath rod and stuff like that. If someone believes enough that something is the truth, if Moiraine has convinced herself that she is stilled, then she feels like she's telling the truth. And yes, I'm stilled. She doesn't have this internal indicator.
But she hasn't said that.
Right.
Nobody said it.
I also don't think that Moiraine has ever said, this is part of the confusion, is like no one's ever said she's stilled or not stilled. Moiraine maintains, like in this episode and previous episodes, that she can't lie. And I do feel like it's been 5 or 8 or whatever months. I feel like at some point Moiraine would have tested that out. And like the way that Lan is talking, it's that the bond is just masked, but it's still there. And like, I don't think it's the scene, it's like later, but he has a conversation with Maxim about it.
I hate that conversation because Maxim's basically spying on him.
Yeah, they're all spying on him. They just want to make sure he doesn't kill himself.
I still, like, even if Moiraine says she can't lie and she has tested it out and knows she can, she could just be lying and telling people that so that they believe what she tells them.
That's also true.
I wouldn't put that past her.
Not like a certain Red.
That's actually an excellent point, Thad and all, because there is a certain Red who does that a lot as well.
I can't lie.
Yep.
We can get to that later, because we will get to that later. All right, so they talk about how Moraine had changed. She mentions, Alana, I guess, mentions that Moraine changed right before Lan met her, and something happened.
Like 20 years ago,
Yes,
specifically.
specifically 20 years ago, and something happened that she changed, which we know as book readers what happened 20 years ago, and that would be when Gitara. Oh my gosh, get something.
Guitar said I.
Yeah, guitars.
Tarzan.
Gitara. But anyway, obviously, if you read the book, we know that 20 years ago, her and Suan were witness to the prophecies of Gitara Sedai when she had her vision of the dragon being born on the Blood Snows, and that's when she set out to find Rand and found Lan in the process, and then dumped the lake on him.
They never actually specifically said that Moraine dumped the lake on Lan, just that,
They didn't.
No, I'm still sad that they left that part out.
Yeah.
That's the best detail from that whole story.
He throws her in the lake, and then she throws the lake on him.
Yeah. It's so good.
All right. So, speaking of Moraine, we're back at her in Anver's house, manor, palace, whatever we called it. And she's in her childhood room, and she's playing with her dolls and her toys, and she's like a picture of her and her sister there as children. At this point, as you mentioned, she takes the bottle of wine to the hospital where Logain is and starts asking about Rand. The people who run the hospital say he hasn't been there in several days.
Which we can assume that at this point, he has gone off with Celine.
Yes. Oh, yeah, she did stop by the inn at some point.
I can't remember if that's this scene or a little bit later.
Yeah, it might be a little bit later. They may have told her at that point where he was staying. And she goes to talk to Logain with the bottle of wine, and she offers him a knife. She offers him to leave the knife there so that he can kill himself if he helps her with Rand. And he gives her the information, and then she says he has to help Rand learn how to channel before she'll give him the knife. Like, that was a little mean. He thought he was going to get it.
Classic Moiraine, just being like, oh, you want this thing? You want this thing? Do what I want.
Dangle that carrot in front of you.
Yep.
You keep moving inch by inch in her direction.
So, is Logain going to replace Asmodean as teaching Rand how to channel?
I doubt. We did see an Asmodean statue in season 1, so I doubt it.
I mean, Logain joins him at some point.
But isn't that all after he has already been healed?
Yeah, I think you're right. Because he was in Saladar.
Yeah.
Because when he leaves the tower originally, it's with Sawan and Lean escape.
Yeah.
When the tower fractures.
And Min is with them too, right?
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting now that Min is going to Carrion. And we're jumping way ahead. But how are we combining these plots?
They're using Min to get Matt to Falm.
Yeah.
That's what they're doing.
Yeah, but she's taking him to Carrion first, for some reason.
Yeah, but I believe the end game for Min is getting him to Falm because Matt's with Rand for the majority of the book until they get to Falm. They go through the portal stone, all that stuff. And it's just they've got everybody everywhere else. And this is kind of a problem with the end of episode or at the end of season 1 with how they had, what happened with the original Mad Actor and how they had to split it off and COVID and all that kind of stuff, I think kind of fractured this a little bit, but they're looping it back around. That's what I believe is going to happen, at least.
Yeah, I think they're obviously bringing Matt to Carrion, and he's going to meet up with Rand. Does Matt know he's quote-unquote dead?
No, Matt doesn't. Oh, no, yes, he does. Yes, he does, because Leanne's been... God, I keep doing that.
I know, I do too.
Leandrin keeps reading him the letters.
Yeah.
Okay, so he does know that Rand is quote-unquote dead, so I'm guessing that he's going to find out that's not true very soon.
Mm-hmm.
We're back to the tower with Elaine and Egwene. They're mopping floors, and they're talking about Nynaeve, and Egwene worries about her not being okay, and how Egwene really wants to help, and Elaine is being her daughter heir self and dispensing wisdom.
Quote unquote wisdom.
Well, I think she's telling her, she can't always help. It is actually being kind of helpful, but it is kind of in a condescending way.
Of course.
But yeah, I think she is actually kind of helpful in this instant, telling her that, she can't always help her the way she thinks she can, and she just has to be there for her. And then we see Nynaeve, and she goes to the practice yard to find Ivan and Maxim, but they aren't there, and she meets young Warder, which is what he's titled as in the X-ray. No name, just young warder. And then he's like, "Oh, you're naive, aren't you?"
He's trying so hard. This poor boy.
He's like, "Maybe when you're ready to be Aes Sedai." And he's like, she's just not having any of it. She's like, "Where's Ivan and Maxim? They've gone with Atlanta, and we don't know where they are." He's like, "I hope you don't choose red." And she's like, and just walks away.
Leandrin is spying on her for this entire interaction, and she looks so smug when Nynaeve turns this man down. She's like, "Ha ha ha, definitely a red in training," which is hilarious. Is this also when Leandrin gets like the note from a fellow red that she reads and looks very annoyed about?
Yep. And then she goes to talk to Leanne, who's wearing a really beautiful dress. Like,
as usual, Leanne, stunning, crushing it, killing the fashion game.
Always. As the sitter, as the sitter, you have to, right?
yeah, I guess.
Keep her, yeah.
Keep her.
Yeah. Also, she's not Domine. She's Domani, right?
Domani, yes.
Domani.
Yes.
Important distinction there.
Yes.
Yes. Very different. Who are like the best fashion people they have the best fashion in Wheel of Time in Randland.
Yeah.
I mean, just look at Bail Domon. He's a real man's man.
He's Ilianer.
He's an Ilianer.
Oh, that's true.
And maybe Ilian can have the best men's fashion, but I definitely remember that Ered Domon had like the women's fashion. I was like, I want to wear that culture's fashion. They sound incredible.
They're the ones that had the mask or the veils or something, or am I thinking of something else?
I think it's definitely one of the western coastal countries that has the veil. I think it might be Ered Domon.
I don't remember.
I think so.
Yeah. But she goes up to Leanne and she says, "Why aren't we doing anything about these attacks on the Western Shore, aka the Shan Shan?" Leanne assures her that they have Aes Sedai on it. Leandrin does not seem happy with her answers. She asks her if she knows where the Amerlin is. Leanne says she does. Where the Amerlin is isn't her business, and when the Amerlin is away, the keeper is the Amerlin. She's very smug about that. And Leandrin just tells her, "Just so you know, when the Amerlin falls, so will you."
Foreshadowing.
Yeah, that's...
Yep. And this got a lot more people being like, obviously Leandrin is going to just replace Elida, blah, blah, blah. Guys, we got unofficial casting today that an actress has been cast as Elida. So can we please put these Elida is not going to be in the show theories to bed forever? I'm very tired of having to talk about this.
Who's the actress, Diana?
I can't remember her name. Hold on.
I know the only role that I know her from is that she played.
She's Ava Sarala in The Expanse.
That's it, yeah. And I really liked her in that. I think she did a fantastic job with that.
She's phenomenal.
It's Shorha Agdashlo.
Yeah, Agdashlo, I think is how you pronounce her last name.
Agdashlo?
Yeah.
I don't think I knew her actual name.
She is an Iranian actress. She's incredible. She has the I talk at length about how attracted I am to all of these people. She has the sexiest voice I've ever heard in my life, which is strange because she also sounds like she's smoked a pack a day since she was like 5 years old. It's like this like gravelly, like deep, incredible voice. And I am so excited to have her be in the show, but I'm not excited for her to be Elida because of all of the nonsense that Elida gets up to, and in particular against Egwene.
Especially when you know the end game of what happens to Elida, huh?
Yeah, it's gonna season 3 is gonna be rough, guys. It's gonna be rough for me. Every episode she shows up in, I'm just gonna be sweating because I'm gonna be so torn.
Now, what's funny about Leandrin going to Leanne and saying what she says, I was like, okay. My first thought was, okay, attacks in the west. That's where the Shan-Shan are. Is this going to be kind of the circumventing framing to get the girls out to Falm, since they're already in the tower, and we know what Leandrin does in the books to get them out there, because originally they're just going to hunt Black Aja. They're looking for clues on Black Aja, which has not been addressed in the show at all yet. No, I think that Black Aja may have been mentioned in like subtext passing, but no one has ever outright said Black Aja.
No, I mean, we know by the end of the books, Yes, we know by the end of the books, but we also know by the end of this episode how she's getting them out of the tower.
Yeah, and my lead into that was, okay, this is how she's gonna is she going to be like, hey, Nynaeve, or, and Egwene, let's go check this out. And, it kind of did work out that way, but we'll get there when we get there.
Yeah, kind of, in a little ways. Now, after this scene, we go to Perrin and Elias for the first time this episode, since they've escaped from the Shan-Shan. And they're sitting around a fire.
They're running through the forest at first.
Oh, wait, they're talking first. So they're walking, and they're talking about the wolf power, and we get a little more information on it. I don't remember exactly what he tells them.
He says that, like, the wolves send visions, and there's, like, this vision of this, like, giant stag that's running through the forest.
Yeah.
And it is, I'm realizing, been many years now since my last reread, and I was like, is this how the wolf do they? They send each other visions, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
They send each other they don't talk in words.
Okay,
they talk via images.
Images and, like, emotions.
Yeah.
So I guess it makes sense for what we're seeing. It makes the whole scene in
That, like, house.
the house. Yeah, I was trying to think of where it was.
I don't think we
Atuin's Well. No, that was before that.
It's before Atuin's Well. Yeah, I don't think we know exactly where the house is unless it's in the X-ray, and I haven't seen the X-ray.
Yeah, it makes that make a little more sense that way. I guess maybe the wolves were projecting what happened to him, maybe.
Yeah, it does make more sense, especially given the conversation that Elias and Perrin have later. I'll come around to it, because, like, this episode, I hate it less.
Yes, same.
And, like, especially after the explanation, I'm like, okay. And, like, especially the, like, image that we get later in the episode, I was like, okay. My one note here is that I really underestimated how cute the wolves were going to be and how much that was going to make me be so much more bought into Perrin's storyline anytime the wolves are around going forward. Like, they're as we talked about last season, dog actors.
They're dogs.
They're definitely dogs, because wolves are so much bigger than that, but that's okay. I'm okay with it being dogs.
No, you can't actually have wolves on set.
Yeah, wolves are big and dangerous and wild animals. And yeah, so we'll just have, like, big dogs who make the cutest little noises. They're adorable, and I love dogs, as you guys can tell. And I was like, oh man, like, this is a great, because Perrin's storyline in the book series really doesn't work for me basically at any point. Like, I find him boring and annoying and exhausting at different turns, but that's because I couldn't see how cute the wolves were. So now that I can see that, I'm like, okay, Perrin, stay with the wolves at all costs.
Okay, so we've got a little more explanation for the wolf powers. And then we go back to Lan, and he's talking to Maxim about the bond. He's talking about how it's been masked since the Eye of the World. And I'm still so confused. But Maxim is giving him a slightly different outlook than everybody else. He's telling her to go back and try to win her over. Everybody else was telling him to move on. So I thought that was a little interesting.
It's also interesting that Maxim, masking the bond might be something that's, like, against Tower law. The way that, like, Lan talks about it, where, like, Alana, like, kept the bond masked for, like, months and months. And, like, Lan's reaction to that was like, does the tower know? It's like, does the tower need to know?
Like, why did the tower care?
And then, like, when Lan was like, oh, Moiraine has had the bond masked for 6 months or something, and Maxim was like, I thought I was the only one who could last that long. It's like, what?
Yeah, I don't understand.
Do you need to talk to an adult?
Yeah, I'm like, why does masking the bond seem to have, like, a similar effect to severing the bond? Like, that's so strange.
I don't think that's how that works.
That doesn't track.
No. And then they also, like, Maxim talks about, like, oh, Alana only turned the bond back on in battle and in bed. Incredible detail by Alana. But, like, masking it, except for in bed, makes sense because it would just make the sex better, as we learn from the books later. But, like, the theoretical reason to turn it back on in battle, I guess, by the show logic, would be that it also restores all of their warder powers, which is not how masking the bond works.
Warder powers activate.
I can see the advantage in being able to sense where your partners are, and that sense the unmasking it would provide that advantage.
Yeah, that's fair.
But it's still just weird. Like, I just don't think that, because Lan is clearly not having some of the other things that he should be having if the bond wasn't severed.
Yeah, it's I'm so confused. I'm just excited for this plot point to be done in episode 5. Like, really, really hoping.
Same. same. Let's get over this, and then she can fall through the doorway.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe not. Who knows?
Who knows?
So anyway, we're back to Moraine, and she goes. Oh, this is when she goes to the inn to find Rand. She finds that it's burned down.
She's really keeping a low profile there.
Yeah.
Like she promised.
Right? So low profile.
That was sarcasm for those who can't tell.
Goes right up to the captain of the guard. Hey,
Have you seen a redhead boy?
Standing in the foregate in like full like Carrion Noble regalia. It's looking stunning. Everyone in the foregate is looking at her like, who the F is this lady? What is she doing here?
I like how the captain of the guard is just like blank face, like,
Yeah, so she finds the burned down inn, and then we're back to Selene and Rand. They're at Kinslayer's Dagger in a cabin in the woods, and she says that she used to come here with somebody that she used to know years ago. And I'm just like, I wonder who that was. Who was that, Selene?
Apparently someone who Rand thinks sounds boring, which I thought was really funny.
Right? That's hilarious.
Rand, don't shade your former self.
Right?
At a certain point, Luce Theron's voice is going to show up in your head and be like, I wasn't boring.
It's not boring.
Ileana.
Oh my god, did you see the Wheel of Time official account made a reference to
I did. They made a Winter Dragon reference. It's so funny.
it's canon now.
Yep.
It's canon.
It is canon.
It is canon. Fenya sent me that tweet. Let me find it. He's not. So this is the official Twitter talking about Lan peeing against a tree. He's not peeing. It's actually a sword form called Yellow Bites the Snow. Very advanced. Shame on anyone who thought. Oh wait, no, that's a different one.
That's a different
But
one.
that is also funny.
That was hilarious. But
Hey,
that's
maybe
not-
that'll be the one time in the entirety of the Wheel of Time TV adaptation where we have mention of using a bathroom.
It's true. Where was that other one? I thought Fenya sent it to me.
I think she posted it in the Discord.
Yeah, I think you're right. Which means it's going to be impossible to find because we've talked so much.
Here it is. And this is specifically about this scene. And my ex reminded me a lot of you, Rand. Well, you and Max Ryan official, but that's another story.
No mention of the actor who plays Luce Theron in the actual Wheel of Time show, though.
No, just Max Ryan.
Just Max Ryan.
And then underneath it, somebody was like, Ileana! Oh, I love this fandom sometimes.
Incredible stuff.
So that was all of that particular time. We come back to that scene later.
She also encourages Rand to like seize power. She's like, if you want something, take it. And I love that line from her. It's so much more subtle than anything that Lanfear ever says in the books. Like Lanfear is explicitly like, seize power, Rand, seize power, seize it. And I'm like, girl, you are so obviously evil. Like, chill. And in the show, the fact that she's just like, if you want something, you have to take it. And then like, it's like looking up at him like, as in me, take me, pick me.
Given how the episode ends, I think we're just going to see her get crazier and crazier until hopefully we get that one specific scene from book 4 where, you know what I'm talking about?
Truly, I could not guess.
I kind of vaguely remember it, but I don't remember what she says.
Where she outright kills Kadir, turns him into a blood balloon, and then goes, "Who are these women?"
That's right, I forgot about that. But she knows who the women are because she meets Min at the end of book 2. And she sees Min, like, I think in bed with Rand while Rand is unconscious. And she's like...
No. She tells Rand, or she tells her to take care of Rand because she's coming back for her. But she doesn't know about the other two.
Elena and Veriendha. Girlfriends 2 and 3, as my husband refers to them.
So now we're back at TarValon, or not TarValon, somewhere.
We're in TarValon.
Yeah, I guess it is somewhere in TarValon with Min and Matt at an inn, and they're gambling.
Oh, no, you're right. We're not in TarValon.
Okay,
Sorry.
No, I don't know where that was. There's somewhere they've run away from TarValon. I didn't think to look at the x-ray and see if it told us a town. But they're in an inn, and they're gambling, and Min is winning, and I forget, what did he tell her? He said some kind of something snarky, and I didn't write it down.
I think he says something along the lines of like, let's get us a room, or like, you get us a room.
You get us a room. And she's like, I'll get us 2 rooms. And she goes to the innkeeper and she tells him she's meeting somebody in the attic. and that they'll know when she doesn't know who it is, but they'll know when they get there. And I guess she pays for Matt's drinks and a couple more for the rest of the night, plus the room for him and her room in the attic. It is an interesting exchange, but we'll learn more about that in another scene. And then we're back. Leandrin finds Nynaeve sitting in the Archer's room, and she's staring at it. And they have a very almost heartfelt conversation about loss and grief, where Leandrin asks her who she lost in the Arches, and she says it was her daughter.
This scene almost got me with like humanizing Leandrin until she doesn't know how old her son is, and then I was like, and I'm out again.
Okay, but it's like he's like 80 something
or 90. That's a big difference.
I don't know. When you've lived over 100 years, then maybe not so much.
Maybe this is just me, and I'm not a mom yet, so, you know, maybe I'll feel differently. But every mom I've ever met, like, knows, like, to the minute when her child was born.
Okay, so apparently you don't know my mom because she can't keep me and my sister straight.
Okay, fair.
It didn't help. I was born on the 15th of 1 month, and my sister was born on the 16th of the month before that. Different years.
Oh.
And we always got our birthdays mixed up or messed up, so.
At least she knew the years that it was.
Sometimes.
Fair. I just felt when she was like, I've kept him secret for 80, 90 years. I was like, I do feel like you should know some kind of roughly.
Yeah.
To have more than a decade of guessing.
At this point, I don't think my mom could tell you how old I was. So I think, like, when you get to be at that was the years don't.
Maybe.
There's no separation between the years and the decades.
Maybe.
But, yeah. Unlike you, I think it really was a very touching scene, and they both talk about their grief and their loss, and I feel like it's humanizing here, even though I know it's coming in not too much.
And then Leandrin is like, twisty, evil villainness. Don't do anything. Give me your word that you won't do anything rash. Pauses for like a half second. Nynaeve does not say anything, and she's like, but we got this info that your friends were captured in the West. But don't do anything rash, though. Bye.
Don't do anything rash.
I'm sure you won't.
But here's this information that will obviously make you do something rash.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're back at Lan, and he's meditating on the side of a hill with Ivan and Maxim. And Maxim stands up and leaves, and Ivan's like, well, he lasted longer than I thought he would. Which I thought was funny, because apparently Maxim is not a meditator. He doesn't seem like the spiritual type in that sense.
That checks out.
Yeah, he can't sit still. Lan and Ivan talk about the bond again, and he tells them something completely different than Maxim did. And he implied that Moiraine Sedai meant it when she said they weren't equals because warders aren't equal. I'm like, wow, Orlana just sounds like she just doesn't think much of her warders, although she seems to treat them like extensions of herself.
She thinks more highly of them than Sheriam, at least. She at least includes them in conversations.
That's true.
Yeah, because when Sheriam went like, you three count as one, I was like, ooh, that's a burn.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they aren't Aes Sedai.
In front of the hall, it is true.
It is true. But she seemed to think that they shouldn't be involved in the conversation at all. But wow, like that I'm just like, poor Ivan. I'm like, you really think that Aes Sedai are better than you? I don't know.
In terms of raw power, he makes a good point. I mean, I do not think that warders are less than their Aes Sedai, but I could see the argument.
I guess. I still think Moiraine was either lying or she thought that Lan was too good for her.
I think she thinks Lan is way better than her.
Yeah, I do too.
I mean, she does say we aren't equals, but not who's the better one.
Yeah, she did not say that she was better than him. She said we aren't equals.
Yeah. Yvonne has a great line in this scene where he says that what Alana wants is to, I think it's like, save the world from dark and then have dessert after.
That's a very Alana thing.
Yes.
It's dessert is either her fruit or her warders covered in fruit.
Yeah. Or both.
Or both.
But as we see that Maxim was not just getting up to leave because he can't meditate. He goes and he steals the poem from Lan's bag. Well, Lan's busy with Ivan. And he shows it to Alana. And they're both sort of looking at each other like, something's up. I think at this point she says something about he must not know what this means.
Well, I mean, he can read Old Tongue, so he's probably read it.
Yeah, but not know what it means. But we are back to Moraine. She's back at Anvir's house, and she's waiting in her room to talk. This is where she gets very put out with Moraine about how she's abandoned the house, and the house has fallen on hard times, and now her son is set to marry the queen, which is interesting, because that's not what happens in the books, right? I don't remember enough about all that stuff that happens.
So I think the book accurate thing that is mentioned in this scene is that their uncle did ruin their family. The way that it's said in the show, it's just sort of like, oh, maybe he had like a gambling or drinking problem.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's a bit worse than that. He destroyed a gift from the Aiel and caused the Aiel War to happen while he was king. Whoops.
Oops.
Genuinely wild that anyone in Carrion would be like, but the next generation or like 2 generations later can marry back into royalty. Like, yep. Seems a little soon.
Right.
They don't call them tree killers for nothing.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I have in my notes, like, who is the Queen of Carrion?
Right.
I'm assuming we're going to learn more because we know that there's been more Damodreds cast. So we'll meet more of them. I'm assuming we're going to see in the next episode, like, some more Game of Houses nonsense with Moiraine's nephew.
Yeah, there's actually an episode that's titled Daz Damar, so I'm guessing.
Is it?
Our next one is Days Damar.
Damane. Their next one's Des Damar?
No, next one's Damane, you're right.
Yeah, I was like, because I am emotionally bracing for episode 5, so...
Yeah, I just got tongue-tied and said the wrong word. The next one is Damane, and then it's...
Okay, cool.
The eye, something about eyes. The eyes and the shadows or something. And then it's Daz Damar, and then I forgot what the last one was now. I'd have to look it up again. I think in either the 6th or 7th episode, we'll see more about the Game of Houses. I mean, obviously the one titled Daz Damar will be. I've seen some speculation that the queen is Colvert.
Oh, that would make a lot of sense. That'd be a great way to introduce her early.
Yeah, even if she isn't technically queen in the books, but
she wants to be really badly.
Yeah, she really wants to be badly, and
she tries every chance she get to throw Elaine under the bus. She tries to favor with Rand constantly. Hey, you should just give it to me.
Yeah, so I don't know if Anvir is saying she's marrying the queen or she's making it like out to be the queen.
Because they've mentioned the Queen of Carrion before, like they mentioned her in episode 3 too.
They have? Okay, so maybe we actually have a queen. I don't know who it's going to be then, but it could be Colvert.
Colvert would make a lot of sense.
It would, so we shall see.
Yep. And
then we're back with Nynaeve, and she's in the tower. She goes to talk to Gwyn about Falme, or Falme, however we're pronouncing it. She's like, I'm leaving for Falme. And Egwene's mad because she's like, "Why? I'm going with you."
Obviously.
Because obviously. And then they are sneaking out through some kind of tunnel. And they turn around. They hear footsteps. They turn around and there's Elaine. And she's like, well, I'm coming with you too.
Duh.
Like, well, duh.
Obviously.
Egwene
would not hurt me and you can't channel.
Right.
It's so good.
So I'm coming with you. And then Liandrin finds them and knocks them all out with weaves.
She specifically says, before she knocks them out, she goes, well, this complicates things, and then knocks them all out.
Yeah, she looks at Elaine and she's like, you're a complication. Anyway.
Yes. Anyway.
It's like, okay, Liandrin, I guess just kidnap the daughter heir of Andor. Why not?
Yes. Did you know she was the daughter heir of Andor? Because I'm sure she would tell you.
I mean, that fiery red hair should give it away.
Also because Elaine can't shut up about what her title is.
Definitely tell you.
Well, I mean, Elida's also a red, so they've probably talked.
They've probably talked.
Oh, that's right. Elida's the advisor to the queen.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what brings Elida back.
I was just thinking that. She's like, you lost my daughter heir, Swan. Screw your government.
Yes, and maybe that's...
I had plans for her.
No, that would be perfect.
Yeah, that would be a perfect reason for the coup.
You heard it here first.
Yes.
This is our theory.
Yeah, we just came up with it. So we're back at the inn, and Min is asleep, and she's having a dream that she's being forced to read fortunes by her aunts. her aunties. And they are very frightening.
They are.
They're terrifying.
These are extremely terrifying. And these people are asking her questions about their future, and all she's seeing is death and destruction. And then a man breaks in and sits down, and it is our old buddy Ashamael.
The father of lies, betrayer of hope.
Sight blinder.
The person who says his titles as often as Elaine does.
Yes.
Leaf blighter.
He's offering to take her visions away forever. She never has to deal with them.
I have to say, just note to Ashamael here. If you're going to offer someone a deal that's clearly a lie,
Mm-hmm.
maybe don't introduce yourself as the father of lies. Like, just a note.
Right?
It's not a good negotiating tactic to really, like, introduce that, like, I lie all the time. But here is this deal I can offer you, tee-hee-hee. I'm such a villain.
You want the visions gone, right?
You want them gone. You totally trust that I will do this as the father of lies.
And you won't ever have to wear another dress again.
Nope. Do we think this is in the world of dreams?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay, cool. That's what I
I'd
thought
say
too.
the world of dreams, or he's in her dreams and pulled her into it.
Probably just in her dreams.
Yeah.
This looked, it definitely could be in her dreams, but kind of like the way that she was like like bodily carried, sat down, the way he channels at her and like forces her back into the chair, kind of the like unsettling camera work felt, I mean, it was clearly like a dream. It felt a little bit more like TarValon Riyadh than like any of the other dream sequences we've seen.
In the books, you know that like dreamwalkers can go through TarValon Riyadh and they can pull people, their dreams into TarValon Riyadh. So, or they can enter people's dreams. So my guess is that he's pulled her dream into TarValon Riyadh, or he's entered it somehow.
The problem with entering someone's dreams is if they're strong-willed enough, they can take control of you. But, you know, he's like, nobody's done this for probably thousands of years. I've got nothing to worry about. But that's always the problem, because that was the big thing that they always sold with Egwene is don't enter people's dreams, because if you get caught up in their dream, you're stuck. You're at their whim.
Yes, because she finds out the hard way when she entered Galad's dream.
Mm-hmm. And she becomes very smitten by him.
Yes.
And she's just like, oh my gosh, he's so strong. He's picking me up. Yes, I'll do anything for you.
She spends all night in his dream.
I mean, there's many worse ways to learn that lesson is all I'm saying.
Right. Like, I guess she didn't not enjoy it, but she also didn't get any sleep.
Yeah, that's the only bad thing is you don't actually get any sleep.
What a way to not sleep. Though. Look, if I had to take my pick to learn this lesson
Yeah.
at the hands of the most stunning man in all of Randland, thanks. Will 10 out of 10 experience would come again.
In more ways than one, right?
Literally.
Right.
The taint ain't touching you tonight. Or is it?
Or is it? Or are you touching it?
Oh.
This is what happens when Veri's not here.
Right. This is what happens when we don't have a producer. Anyway, Min now agrees to take Matt to Carrion and for Ashamael. And that's all she has to do, and he will take it away forever, the father of Uz.
Yep, definitely not a lie.
Definitely not a lie.
So the only thing that connects Falm to Kyrian is the fact that in what is his name? He is technically related to Moraine. He's a damage red. He's got a waygate in his courtyard. I don't think they're gonna take the waygate, but that's like the only like kind of connective tissue at this point that I can kind of put together with it is that's how they tried to do it initially. They were gonna break into his manor, or not break into his manor. They got invited to a party,
Yeah.
and they were gonna sneak off into the grounds,
Yep.
find the waygate, and go through. But you know, Mach and Shin had already been tracking Rand at that point, so they couldn't use it.
Yeah, I was waiting. Yeah. I mean, they're obviously going to flee from Carrion somehow to get the Falm.
Well, I mean, Moraine's there. Well, no,
Moiraine's there.
Moraine is there, but with the way the episode ends,
I would be curious if I was a showrunner. What I would do in episode 5 is I would have Moiraine, Rand, Min, and Matt run into each other on the road or back in Carrion and all get them to go together. And I don't know if you would if Moiraine would be like, it's Waygate time again, and Matt, you're definitely going through this time.
maybe we'll get a portal stone because Varian did it in the books to get them to Falm and also kind of sync up.
Or maybe we get like our first instance of traveling or something. I don't know.
Too soon for traveling.
I think it's too soon. Rand doesn't know how to channel yet.
Well, but we technically, did we have traveling in season 1? Question mark for those gates. But the gates that
No.
the gates that Swan and Moiraine used to get to the Love Shack.
We still don't know what the heck those are.
We still have no idea what those are, where they went. So I really doubt that that's going to do any.
Yeah, no, because traveling was a lost art at this point in the book series. And Rand learned skimming from Asmodean right then and there, Ruidine, and it evolves into full-on travel later because at this point they're still using the portal stones as their travel devices until we get that. So we got Waygates in season 1. Maybe we'll get Portal Stone in season 2, and then we've got travel for the remainder of the 6 seasons.
So they may or may not be using the ways for a different set of characters in episode 5 that I may or may not have seen in the episode preview.
Okay.
So since they've already brought back the ways set for this season, I could see them having Moiraine also use the ways.
Yeah.
Sure.
Let's finish up the last little bit of the episode, and then we can maybe speculate a little more. But our next scene, Rand wakes up next to Selene on Kinslayer's dagger, and they're surrounded by Midril, and he accidentally channels and destroys them, and she acts surprised that he can channel.
Does he balefire that Nidral? It kind of looks like he does.
It kind of looked like balefire.
It feels like a balefire because it just incinerates.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just
Yeah.
But the whole thing about balefire is when it gets hit, it's supposed to do like this whole inverted color and just disappears.
Yeah, and it could just be fire.
Yeah, I think could just be really strong fire.
Yeah, I wasn't sure.
I think when it's balefire, it's going to be a big thing that it's balefire, not this kind of offhanded torching of a fade.
I think you might be right.
Yeah. Also, do we think Selene summons this fade
Absolutely.
to test Rand?
Absolutely.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
No.
cool.
Duh.
These are the questions that Drunk Me had when I was watching this episode for the 3rd time. So
I'm pretty sure at this point she's like 80% sure that this is Luz Theron, but this was the final test kind of thing.
I think she knew already because Ishamael knew.
Fair point. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, she acts like she's shocked, and she's like, "Did you burn down my inn?" Of course you knew he burned down the inn, you idiot.
Well, she's got the vapors now. I do believe. I have the vapors.
Yeah, she's so damsel in distress here. Like, she's just like, you could channel. Why couldn't you tell me? Blah, blah, blah.
Take me now.
Well, I really think that she's like, I feel like she's like kind of waffling here, but then Rand is like, well, they say that you kill the people you love most first. And she's like, you love me? And I'm like, oh God. Like, my notes are literally like, Rand loves her. Red alert. Rand loves her.
You love me? Oh, no.
No, Rand, no. Rand also says, you're the first woman to ever see me as a man. And I'm just like, what the fuck about Egwene?
Yeah, that was like, ouch.
I guess that was a teenage love.
Did he have sex how many times? They definitely banged.
I don't know. I think she's still also in his head. I think she's using compulsion on him.
I do think she's using compulsion on him, but I was so upset about the Egwene erasure.
Yeah, that was brutal.
Yeah.
Also because I was thinking about this on the bus today, how come Rand gets to get over Egwene, who's still alive, when we still have Perrin, like, mourning Layla? And that was a plot point for why Hopper even likes him in this episode. I'm like, Egwene is at least alive, and Rand knows.
You know, we completely glossed by that scene.
We did, yeah.
Oh, we did. I missed it. We sort of talked about it, and then we skipped it, but we can go back to that real quick. Hopper! Ah.
Yeah. Hopper hopping.
Because I like, he's like, what's his name? He asks Elias, what's his name? And Elias goes, he'll tell you when he wants.
And then you see the wolf just jumping around the fire. Like,
making the cutest sounds.
The cutest. I want somebody to make that a GIF. Because, like, just the image of him. And he goes, Hopper. And Elias is like, close enough.
Did you guys watch this episode with any show only people?
I watched it by myself. So.
Okay. Okay, so I watched it with my husband and then I had a party and watched it with more people who are show only. And every single person was like, well, the show would never kill a dog. The show would never kill a wolf. And especially not the wolf that they've named. And I was just like, yep.
Oh, no.
Yep.
Oh.
Yep, they definitely would never kill a wolf.
No.
But like, we don't know if they're going to kill Hopper because we've skipped, like, we already did the part where he died in the show.
Yeah, but he also had more interaction with him before this point.
Yeah. I mean, I could totally see him dying in Fall on Tom and Head.
No, so there was an episode preview of Perrin axing a White Cloak that we've seen so far. So I think that's upcoming. Although I don't know if they would introduce him and kill him off in the same season, because give Perrin a break, please.
Yeah. Well, look, they didn't give us a break in the books. They introduced him and killed him off in the same book, so.
Yeah, because Hopper is more or less supposed to be a kind of spirit guide.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Young bull, you're here too strong. Leave. And just forcefully pushes him out of the dream.
Mm-hmm. So I could see them keeping Hopper alive, which is why I said nothing to my show only friends. And I was just like, yeah, definitely wouldn't kill the wolf that was named.
Oh no, never get attached to the dog.
No. I was like, oh God, am I gonna have to do a dog that does the dog die warning for the show?
You're gonna have to. Oh gosh, the show does need a does the dog die.
Yeah, but we don't know.
We don't know, but probably.
But probably.
So now we're back to the end, and we see Ivan and Maxim and Alana, and they're reading the poem, and they're like, it's about Lanfear. And we get the scene, we cut to them reading the poem out loud as Rand is being tied to a bed by Selene. And it's the daughter of the night, she walks again. The ancient war she yet fights. Her new lover she seeks, who shall serve her and die, yet serve still. Who shall stand against her coming? The shining wall shall kneel. Blood feeds blood, and then it slowly goes back to the beginning when Ishamael is saying the same thing, and it's his voice. Blood calls blood. Blood is, blood was, and blood ever shall be. Rand is all tied up on the bed, and she's like, I have a confession, I'm also a monster. And she starts to channel, and all of a sudden, the sword just rams through the middle of her. I'm like, what the?
That definitely caught me off guard.
I was not expecting.
Yeah, me too. Because she's like channeling to take the what is that thing called? The mist off, I think. Also, I love Rand's expression when she's like, I'm a monster too. Because you can kind of see Rand being like, are we about to have like really freaky sex?
I'm already tied to this bed.
How are you a monster? Should I be worried?
And he's like, you've killed her. Moiraine comes in, and she's the one that's run the knife. She's run the sword through her.
And then slit her throat. Moiraine double tapped on that. I was proud of her.
And Rand's like, you killed her. She's like, you idiot. That was Lanfear. And she's not dead, because you can't kill Lanfear that easy. She looked pretty freaking dead to me, but I guess not.
Yeah, she was on the floor bleeding out.
One way to show that the Forsaken are super strong is to show that just like normal means won't kill them.
Yeah.
So I was fine with this.
Yeah.
I was less fine with her saying that Lanfear is the most dangerous of the Forsaken. In my notes, I have, by no metric is Lanfear the most dangerous of the Forsaken, except for maybe for Rand's heart or other parts of him.
Other parts of him. Yeah.
Like, she's not even the most dangerous Forsaken right now out in the world, even if only her and Ishamael are around. But, like, I think there's so many metrics by which Lanfear is not the most dangerous.
I think she was one of the most powerful women channelers.
Yes, I think she is the strongest female channeler. But that doesn't make her the most dangerous.
No.
I would very much argue that Semirog is the most dangerous Forsaken. Semirog is scary.
Yes.
Her introduction in the series is her having some people locked up, and she's like poking around in their brain with the one power going, how do you do this? How do you do that? And it's just like, reading it is way chilling.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's terrifying. And she also does she swaps their blood for something else at one point, like in their bodies while they're still alive. And she's like, I just wanted to see what would happen. Like, she's so scary.
Yeah. She's just completely deranged.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm like, I know you can't lie, Moiraine, so clearly you just are not very well informed. But like, no, I'm sorry, but this is just wrong.
So anyway, Rand lets her go and grabs his pants, I guess,
And his sword.
and his sword.
Which is the sword that Moiraine used to run Lanfear through, because it's covered in blood.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
She took his sword and
ran his girlfriend through to add insult to injury.
And they run out, and we close on Lanfear just laying there in a pool of her blood as her wounds slowly close up.
And she blinks.
She blinks, and the saw go right through her eyes.
Yeah, you can see the saw start from like the edge of her eyes and then like go to the center. It's super cool.
I think I missed that because because of the app I was watching it on, like cut back to browsing.
Oh, that's rude.
Like right at the end there.
That's super rude. It's really hard to see. I could only see it when I was watching on my computer.
It's very subtle.
I'll have to check it out again.
You definitely need the high definition screen.
Just the app that I use, it's like when it gets to the end of an episode before the credits start, it gives me like this countdown, and if I'm not fast enough, it boots back to browsing because of how I have it set up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't mind skipping the end of the credits, but if they're gonna start playing the credits over the end of the show, then it needs to go through that and not cut off the last 5 seconds. But yeah, it was a very epic reveal.
Yeah.
Like when it happened, especially the blade coming through her chest like that was just like,
oh, 100%.
wow. That was, yeah, something else. So my guess is that Rand is going to go back to Andavir's palace with Moiraine, and that's where we're going to start seeing more of the Dazdamar. But obviously, next episode is going to be more focused on
Tyrion.
No,
I think fall.
You think so?
Well, stuff that's happening on Tommen Head, not necessarily.
Yeah. Because Perrin's already on his way out there. The girls have been knocked out. Leandrin's gonna drag them how by whatever means she means to out there.
And the title of the episode is called Domine.
Oh, I thought it was Days Daymar, but that's the one after.
That's the one after it.
Okay, sorry. I was just watching the episode preview while you guys were talking.
No, that's okay.
Guess who else is going to be in episode 5? We finally get Aviendha.
Okay, good. Yeah.
She is the Aiel in the cage that Perrin comes across.
Oh.
Not Gaul.
Oh. Where's
yeah,
Gaul?
And then she somehow gets out of the cage and helps them. Because when we see her in the preview, she's in a cage, and then there's a bunch of white cloaks, and then she's like, "Do you like to dance, Perrin Barra?" And she puts her veil up. It's in the trailer, and I'm like, yes, let's go, let's go.
Black veil up. That ain't good when that black veil goes up.
No.
Nope. Also, on the topic of Aviendha, if people have not listened to the soundtrack that dropped on Friday, the concept songs for season 2 dropped, and Aviendha's theme in particular is a banger, and everyone should go listen to it. It's so hype. It's so good. I'm very excited. There's a lot of old tongue. You can hear them say Jayutal, for her and for the Aiel theme in general.
Ooh, I'm interested.
It's really cool. This music this season continues to be wonderful.
I'll have to go download that.
It's on Spotify or Apple Music or wherever you get your music.
We have Aviendha, and we know we're getting Bane and Chayed. We still haven't seen Gaul, and they're replacing Gaul with Aviendha. And I think we have to have Gaul. We can't not have Gaul.
You need Gaul. Gaul is the foil to Bane and Chayed.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
But I was talking with somebody, I don't remember who it was now, but they were saying maybe that Gaul will be Rafe's self-insert. He is redheaded, and
is Gaul a chief?
He's not a chief.
He's a stone dog.
He's not a chief. I feel like if Rafe was going to self-cert anywhere, he would be a Aiel chieftain.
I don't know. I think it would be...
There are a ton of septs that aren't really, they're named, but the chiefs are never named. So he could be one of those and probably a gathering. But I don't think he would put himself front and center.
I know.
Yeah, exactly. He's already done that with Maxim and F.
Yeah.
He features his husband quite prominently in the show, which I'm not mad about. His husband's stunning. So,
Yes.
or partner. I can't remember if they're officially married or not. I just call them husbands.
Yeah, I don't know if they're actually married or not. But yeah, I don't know. I think it was just a joke, but it would be
It would be really funny, and Rafe, if you wanted to do that, we wouldn't be mad about it.
Yeah, no. All right, so that's it. That's the episode.
Everyone get emotionally ready for the high highs and low lows that are inevitably going to happen.
Yeah.
In an episode called Damane.
Ooh.
Not Domani. Damane.
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 Yeah, not Domani. Damane.
Bad the way you said that.
Damane.
Damane.
Damane. And with that, thank you so much for joining us on TarValon Talks. If you have any questions or topics you'd like to talk to us about, feel free to send us an email to producer.tvt@gmail.com, or you can join us on tarvalon.net. In our general forums, we have a special thread called TarValon Talks pinned at the top of the page. You can also chat with us via the tarvalon.net's Discord server and the TarValon Talks Discord channel. Stay tuned for our next episode, where we will discuss episode 5 of season 2 of The Wheel of Time on Amazon Prime. Prepare yourselves